A sudden heritable change in the gene is called as mutation. Gene is a unit of DNA that produces a polypeptide chain, that is the protein, and has the properties like definite function, replication, recombination and mutation. Hello dear students, welcome back to session 8 of this chapter called Molecular Basis of Inheritance. Hope you remember in the last session we studied about transcription, translation, right? So in today's session we are going to learn about a very important process called lac-operin concept. So in the last session we studied about protein synthesis, how the proteins are made with the direction of DNA, the direction that is given by DNA to mRNA, from mRNA to tRNA, tRNA to rRNA, and rRNA to ribosomes. So proteins, as you know, they are the building blocks of all the organisms and they are very, very necessary for the body. And these protein molecules are made by the instructions given by the DNA. But these protein molecules are not always required by the cell. Only when the protein molecules are required by the cell, then they are synthesized with the direction of DNA, and when they are not necessary, they are not synthesized by the direction of DNA. So it is like switch on and switch off mechanism. So like for example, whenever we want a light, we switch on, and whenever we don't require the light, we switch off. So in the same mechanism, when the proteins are required, the mechanism is switched on, and when the proteins are not required, the mechanism is switched off. That is what we are going to study in a very important concept called lac-operin model, which was proposed by Jacob and Monod. Now before we move on to that concept, let us understand what is mutation. I think all of us know that genes play a very great role in the body of an organism. So any alterations in the gene will definitely put the person into risk by carrying on many diseases, genetic diseases or disorders. So what is mutation? A sudden heritable change in the gene is called as mutation, or we can also define mutation as any alterations brought about in the arrangement of genes in the DNA of chromosomes is called mutation. So how do we define the word called mutation? Any alterations brought about in the arrangement of genes in the DNA of chromosomes is called mutation. So what is mutation? It is a sudden heritable change that is caused in the gene. And where are the genes located? They are located on the chromosome. So we call chromosomes as the vehicles or the carriers of genes. Or we can also define mutation as any alteration brought about in the arrangement of genes in the DNA of chromosomes is called mutations. There are two types of mutations. One is called point mutation, the other one is called frame shift mutation. So we have understood what is mutation and what are the two very important types of mutation. One is called the point mutation, the other one is called the frame shift mutation. Now let us understand the difference between the point mutation and the frame shift mutation. The very word itself will tell you. Point mutation, it involves change in the single base pair. So point mutation means it involves a change in the single base pair. For example, change of single base pair in the gene for beta globin that results in the substitution of glutamic acid by valine. It causes a disease called sickle cell anemia. See, imagine if one single base pair is changed and it is replaced by another substitute. So obviously it is going to cause some genetic disorders like we have the sickle cell anemia. For example, like glutamic acid in a normal human being is replaced by valine, then it is going to cause a severe disease called sickle cell anemia, where the RBCs instead of being biconcave will be sickle shaped and it is going to rupture the blood vessels. See, imagine, so such a type of mutation, such a change in the single base pair is called point mutation. So what is point mutation? It involves a change in single base pair is called as point mutation. What is frame shift mutation? It is a type of mutation where addition or insertion or deletion of one or two bases changes the reading frame of the site of mutation, resulting in a protein with a different set of amino acids. As I said, when a protein is made, there is a specific sequence for that particular protein. For example, hair. Hair is a protein. So for the making of a protein called hair, there is a particular sequence. So if any sequence, what is sequence there? The amino acids, which is given in the form of triplet codon. If it is changed, then definitely it is going to cause some changes in the hair structure. So in a similar way, what is frame shift mutation? It is a type of mutation where addition or insertion or deletion of one or two bases changes the reading frame from the site of mutation, resulting in a protein with a different set of amino acids. So this forms what? Genetic basis of proof that codon is a triplet and it is read in a continuous manner. Such a type of mutation is called frame shift mutation. So hope you have understood what is mutation. So what is mutation? Any alteration brought about in the arrangement of genes in the DNA of chromosome is called mutation. What are the two types of mutation? One is called point mutation. The other one is called frame shift mutation. What is point mutation? It involves the change in the single base pair. What is frame shift mutation? Where addition or insertion or deletion of one or two bases is going to change the reading frame of the site of the mutation. And this forms what? Genetic basis of proof that codon is a triplet and it is read in a continuous manner. Gene. As right from the beginning of this chapter, we are talking about this very important word called gene. What is gene then? A gene is a unit of DNA that produces a polypeptide chain and has the properties like definite function, replication, recombination, and mutation. See how wonderfully this gene is defined. So what is gene? A gene is a unit of DNA. It is a part of DNA. So as I said, gene is nothing but DNA. DNA is nothing but gene. They are one and the same. So a gene is a unit of DNA that produces a polypeptide chain, that is the protein, and has the properties like definite function, replication, recombination, and mutation. As I said, proteins are the building blocks of an organism and which is made by the direction given by DNA to mRNA. But do you think all the proteins are required by the cell every time? No. So some proteins are required by the cell, then it is synthesized. When the proteins are not required by the cell, then it is not synthesized. So there is a regulation or there is a control of making of these proteins in the cell. So that whole mechanism is called as regulation of gene expression, which can also be called as operant concept. So whenever we want, so there is a control, there is a regulation for the synthesis of this protein. Whenever it is required, it is synthesized. Whenever it is not required, it is not synthesized. So it is like switch on and switch off mechanism. Same way as I said in the beginning, like if we want the light, we switch on the switch so that the light is on, and when we don't want the light, we switch off the switch so that the light is put off. So in the same mechanism, so whenever you don't want the proteins, the whole mechanism is switched off, and whenever the cell requires protein, the whole mechanism is switched on. The whole process is explained in a mechanism called regulation of gene expression. So what is this regulation of gene expression? The study of control of gene expression, whether we want the gene to express itself or we don't want the gene to express itself, is called as regulation, control. So the study of control of gene expression is important because all the genes in the organisms may not function at all times. So some genes are switched on and the others are switched off, depending upon the changing internal environment. So whenever we want the protein, then the genes are switched on. Whenever we don't want the protein, the genes are switched off. So it is like regulating the gene expression in an organism. To explain this mechanism, operant concept was proposed by Jacob and Monod in 1961. So this is also called as operant concept, and it was proposed by two very important scientists by name Jacob and Monod in 1961. Operant, how do we define this word called operant? Operant is a group of cistronic genes consisting of structural gene, operator gene and promoter gene. So what is operin? Operin consists of three very important genes. We can call it as one as the structural gene. The next one is called the promoter gene. And the other one is called as the operator gene. Operator gene, then comes the promoter gene. Right. So operin means it's a set of three genes. That is the structural gene, the operator gene and the promoter gene. So the regulator genes of operin system. So the operator and promoter along with the repressor forms the regulator genes. So what are the regulator genes? The operator and the promoter along with the repressor form the regulator genes. So I repeat, what is gene? A gene is a unit of DNA that produces a polypeptide chain and has the properties like definite function, replication, recombination and mutation. So what is regulation of gene expression? It is nothing but the control of gene expression. So whenever we want the genes, it is expressed or it is switched on. Whenever we don't want the genes to be expressed, then it is switched off. So this whole mechanism was explained by Jacob and Monod in 1961. And the whole concept is called lac-operin. Lac stands for lactose. When lactose is given to the culture medium, the whole mechanism is switched on. When the lactose is not provided to the nutrient medium, the whole mechanism is switched off. So that is, the gene expression is stopped. So hence we use the word called operin. Operin consists of what? Three very important genes. One is called the structural gene, second one is called the operator gene, and the third one is called the promoter gene. So the operator and the promoter along with the repressor forms the regulator genes. So as I said, this is also called as Jacob and Monod model. So this model of gene action was suggested by Jacob and Monod to explain the functioning of genes pertaining to the synthesis of galactosidase in E. coli and is referred to as lac-operin model. So as I said, operin consists of three genes, that is the structural genes, operator gene and the promoter gene along with the repressor protein. Here the lac means what? Lactose. So when galactosidase is provided to the culture medium in E. coli, then the gene expression is switched on. When it is not given to the culture medium, the whole gene expression is switched off. So E. coli bacteria use carbohydrates such as lactose as food substrate. So when E. coli, as we all know that carbohydrate is a very good medium for the growth of bacteria. So when E. coli bacteria is provided with a carbohydrate like lactose, then they grow. So as a food substrate, when E. coli is supplied with lactose, each bacterial cell synthesizes about 300 galactosidase molecules to digest lactose. And if lactose is not supplied, number of galactosidase molecules present in E. coli will drastically reduce to just few per cells. That means what? So when lactose is provided to the medium, then around 3000 galactosidase molecules are produced to digest that lactose. When it is not produced, so we can find that number of galactosidase molecules present in E. coli will drastically reduce to just few per cell. So here we can see the whole mechanism, switch off mechanism and switch on mechanism. As I said, this whole mechanism, you can see the three genes, that is, here you can see LAC-Z, LAC-Y and LAC-A, and this is the inactive repressor protein. Here you can see the DNA. This whole thing is called as what? So lactose is allosteric regulator of gene repressor protein. So when this repressor protein binds to the operator gene, then the operator will bind to the promoter gene and the synthesis of protein, the synthesis of gene expression will be stopped. So that means in the absence of lactose, the repressor protein produced by the repressor gene binds to the operator, making the operator sequence not available for, this is the RNA polymerase. RNA polymerase to bind, so that the RNA polymerase cannot transcribe the structural genes, namely Z, Y and A. Therefore, the lac-operin is switched off. So how do we explain this mechanism, switch on, switch off mechanism? In the absence of lactose. So when lactose is not provided to the culture medium of E. coli bacteria, so the synthesis of galactosidase enzyme will not be formed to digest the lactose. So the repressor protein produced by the repressor gene binds to the operator, making the operator sequence not available for RNA polymerase to bind, so that the RNA polymerase cannot transcribe the structural genes, namely Z, Y, and A. Therefore, the lac operin is switched off. Now, let us see what is the switch-on mechanism. Switch-on mechanism. In the presence of lactose, in the culture medium, its entry and accumulation induces the repressor to leave the operator. So, if lactose is provided to the medium, then the repressor protein will not bind to the operator. So, whereas in case of switch-off mechanism, the repressor protein will, when lactose is not provided to the medium, then the repressor protein goes and binds to the operator and operator will stop the synthesis. But here what will happen? In the presence of lactose in the culture medium, its entry and accumulation induces the repressor to leave the operator and combine with lactose, to which it also has an affinity. So this makes the operator free. The RNA polymerase recognizes it and moves over to structural genes to transcription. So the transcription yields a single mRNA which on translation segments into 3 proteins corresponding to the 3 structural genes. Namely, the 3 are what? Lac stands for what? Lactose Z, lactose Y, and lactose A. Gene produces galactosidase needed for breaking the galactosidase bond between the galactose and glucose of lactose. Lac Y gene produces galactosidase permease, which allows the lactose molecule to enter into the cell. Then Lac A gene produces galactosidase transacylase conducting acetylation process. So imagine how switch-on mechanism is explained in this particular slide. So what is switch-on mechanism? In the presence of lactose in the culture medium, its entry and accumulation induces the repressor to leave the operator and combine with lactose, to which it also has an affinity. So this makes the operator free, and the RNA polymerase recognizes it and moves over to the structural genes to transcription. So the transcription yields a single mRNA which on translations segments into 3 proteins, namely Lac Z, Lac Y, and Lac A. Lac Z gene produces what? Galactosidase, needed for what? For breaking the galactoside bond between the galactose and glucose of lactose, which is a disaccharide. Then Lac Y gene produces galactosidase permease, which allows the lactose molecules to enter into the cell. So Lac A gene produces galactoside transacetylase conducting acetylation process. Hope you have understood the lac operin model of Jacob and Monod. Moving on to the next very important concept called Human Genome Project. Short form is HGP, Human Genome Project. What is this human genome? Means what? A set of genes is called as genome. So HGP is the scientific project undertaken to study the sequence of bases, that is A, T, C, and G in the entire DNA of human chromosomes or complete human genome. So what is human? The very word itself will tell you, Human Genome Project. So HGP is the scientific project undertaken to study the sequence of bases, that is A, adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine in the entire DNA of human chromosomes or complete human genome. And what is the very important feature of this Human Genome Project? And this mega project began in USA in 1990 as a joint program of the National Institute of Health and the US Department of Energy, which was headed by James Watson. Because of this project, we are able to manipulate the genes and get the desired genes of our choice. So that gone are those days where, even the science and technology has advanced so much that even women, before she conceives, she can plan her baby. So what type of eyes, what type of hair she wants her child to be. That is what is science and technology, and particularly in the field of genetics. So this mega project began in USA in 1990 as joint program of National Institute of Health and the US Department of Energy, was headed by James Watson. Afterwards, countries like Britain, France, Japan joined the project to form an international organization called Human Genome Organization. It is called HUGO, Human Genome Organization. So the estimated cost of the project was $3 billion. second mega project. We can call it as a second mega project, and it was expected to complete by 2005, that is 15 years. So I'll repeat. So Human Genome Project is a scientific project undertaken to study the sequences of bases like AGT and the entire DNA. And this mega project began in USA in 1990 as a joint program of the National Institute of Health and the US Department of Energy, and was headed by James Watson. Afterwards, many countries joined hands with that, like Britain, France, and Japan joined the project to form an international organization called Human Genome Organization. So the estimated cost of the project was around how much? $3 billion, and it was expected to complete by 2005. Now let us understand the objectives of Human Genome Project. This is also very important from examination point of view. Usually they'll ask, what is Human Genome Project? What are the objectives of HGP? What is HGP? And what are the objectives of, or what are the main aims of HGP? Now let us understand the important objectives of HGP. First one, to identify the estimated 20,000 to 25,000 genes present in the human DNA. So first very important objective of Human Genome Project is what? To identify the estimated 20,000 to 25,000 genes present in the human DNA. Next, to determine the sequence of estimated 3 billion chemical base pairs of human DNA. To determine, second very important objective is what? To determine the sequence of estimated 3 billion chemical base pairs of human DNA. As we know, DNA is nothing but what? Made up of base pairs, nitrogenous base pairs having a sugar as well as a phosphate group. So having a backbone of a sugar and phosphate group. In between the two nitrogenous bases, that is a base pairs. And third objective is to store this information in databases for further analysis and application. So that is what is the very aim of this Human Genome Project. So all this information about the genes is stored in the databases, and whenever you want, you can retrieve it and for further analysis and application. Next, to transfer related technologies to other sectors such as industry. So we can use this not only for human welfare, but also for other industrial, for production of certain products, even we can use that for the microorganisms also, like we can, which has wild applications even in industries. And to address the ethical, legal, and sociological issues that may arise out of this. Yes, of course, there are, as I said now, even you can change the genes and you can manipulate the genes. So in that case, we should be ready to address the ethical, the legal, and the sociological issues that may arise out of this project. So all these are the very important aims or objectives of the Human Genome Project. So what are the important objectives? To identify the estimated 20,000 to 25,000 genes present in the human DNA, to determine the sequence of estimated 3 billion chemical base pairs of human DNA, to store this information in databases for further analysis and application, to transfer the related technology to other sectors such as industries, and to address the ethical, legal, and sociological issues that may arise out of this. All these are the very important aims or objectives of Human Genome Project, which is very important from examination point of view. So there is a guarantee question from this particular concept of what are the objectives of Human Genome Project. Then the procedure of HGP. Now let us understand the procedure of HGP. The method followed in HGP is as follows. Construction of genetic map of human chromosomes. So first is very important was construct, you call it as a gene map or a genetic map of human chromosomes. And genetic maps or chromosomes maps roughly indicating the presence of different gene segments on each of the chromosomes. So this will help us to analyze if there are any changes in the sequence of the DNA on the particular chromosome. Next, construction of physical map of human chromosomes. First one is what? Genetic map. Next one is what? Physical map of human chromosomes. Physical maps indicate the actual size of each gene segment and the order of the arrangement of each chromosomes. So what is the first method? Construction of genetic map of human chromosomes. Genetic maps of chromosome maps roughly indicating the presence of different gene segments on each of the chromosomes. Second one, construction of physical map. And this physical maps will indicate what? The actual size of each segment, then the order of arrangement of the sequences. So all that is given in this physical map. Then sequencing of every gene segment that contained all the coding and not coding sequences, and later assigning different regions in the sequence with functions, like term known as sequence annotation. So it is known as a sequence annotation. That is sequencing of arrangement. Sequencing means what? Arrangement of every gene segment that contained all the coding and non-coding sequences, and later assigning different regions in the sequence with particular functions is called as what? Sequence annotation. Then after the gene segments are identified, each gene was cloned in each artificial chromosome or other vectors, and the base sequence was determined. Hope you have understood what is Human Genome Project. You have understood what is lac operant concept model in this particular session, and about Human Genome Project, and what are the objectives of Human Genome Project and the methods of Human Genome Project. So in the coming session, I'll be dealing with a very, very important concept called DNA fingerprinting. So I'll be back with some more interesting concepts, and the last concepts of this chapter called molecular basis of inheritance. Till then, goodbye and thank you.